Hello there. I just finished watching Rick and Morty's Planetina episode, and as a long term fan of Captain Planet, and no, I haven't watched all the episodes, I just think it's a very good show in its own way. I found it to be charming in the extreme, and also being someone who has actually dated a superhero, it's weird to see our folk being represented as superfolk. Well, I'm not a superfolk, but the girl definitely was. And I think, yeah, it was repetitive in that we've seen both the A and B stories, if you will, before. We've seen the romance of the planet or the romance of the weird aliens from Rick, and we've seen Morty fall in love before. What I would want is an arc of at least several episodes long where one of these main characters actually has like a long-term relationship, and 2 3 weeks and 2 episodes for Rick or Morty would be damn long. So that's what I'm actually wanting to see. I would have liked if they'd explore things like, did the fact that Morty had the rings and was murderous, as we know, very bent up angry. Did the fact that he had the rings influence Planetina because she was also kind when she was just being subjected to economic abuse, if you will? So, did Morty's feelings of violence and bent up anger and so on and so forth, remorse, if you will, travel to Planetina to corrupt her? And that would have been interesting to at least explore. And it would have been nice to see something long term for one of these characters. I don't mean a permanent change in that Morty would suddenly have a girlfriend for the next 3 seasons. That's not what I mean. It would completely change the dynamics of the show, but I'm starting to dislike how all these Western animations are one episode only. They almost never carry the tune to the next episode, so you almost never see something like a fulfilling emotional arc, at least a few episodes long. And I feel like we're missing the options of the plot where they actually experiment with these things and have them face up to some real emotional options or real emotional thoughts, and have them realize that emotions and relationships aren't easy. So you need to go through the work, and you need to do difficult, complex, long term things when in a relationship. I'm not an expert on them, but so I have been told. Cough. But I found it to be charming. It wasn't as emotionally gripping as the Tub of Acid episode, which had to the current Rick and Morty by far the best romantic arc for Morty, especially because it ended with the girl Morty had a crush on running to him in the end, and then failing to get to him because they switched out or flew out. I can't remember how they got out, but the woman in the unified timeline in that episode wanted to see Morty. So I think it wouldn't detract from the comedic slapstick value to have them do something long term, like 3 episodes in a relationship and then breaking apart or something. It feels like this 1 episode slideshow is starting to, as a format, get old. I mean, I've been watching it since the Simpsons era, and Ren and Stimpy and what have you. And it's always back to the empty at the end of the episode. You know that no matter what they do, it won't carry to the next episode. And it's starting to be a little annoying, even. But that being said, I start about 5 to 10 animes a year, and I complete perhaps one or two or keep up to date on the updates for about one or two. And that's because due to the longer story arcs, they become difficult to observe for an intense period of time. They become too engrossing, too in depth for it to be the slapstick funny. So at some point, I just tune out because I can't be arsed to follow them anymore. So it's a balancing act. But I would hope for some sort of long term episodal structure where things carry to the next episode, and instead of just making slapstick references to the previous episodes, which is still an improvement over Simpsons, if you will, I would imagine that if Morty had a 3 episode relationship and ended it in a positive but humorous note that still has an overtone of sadness, it would probably be interesting. It would probably offer some kind of developmental path to the character, such as the Planetina thing was nice, but I'm thinking something like some form of life that is known to be in the passing stage, like they are known to not be permanently near. And despite being told by Rick that, don't get romantically involved in a life form that will not be available to stay, then Morty still goes for it, or something along those lines. And I really like the fact in the season 4 ending where Jessica became a time god. That was a real development. Now, if we see her reference herself as a time god and stay in the zonked out mode in the following episodes and even develop some kinds of superpowers, and Morty is still trying to get with her, we will have the good kind of long-term fun. It will be funny to watch. So that being said, I have a few animes that I'm keeping an eye on. The Ascendance of the Bookworm series is actually pretty good for a isekai, which is transported to another world type thing, which is kind of what Rick and Morty is. It's interesting, and they build a long-term development plan for their character much better than most Westerners do. And that seems to be about it. I'm gonna make another update pretty soon about the bioreactor thing, which I studied recently, but that's about it for Rick and Morty. So feel free to comment on if I'm wrong or right about this, and we'll see. Thank you.